sales is an emotional journey.
Yeah.
And then when it's handed off to construction, it's a logical perspective.
Exactly.
And so you get put in these situations all the time, and I'm always amazed by your ability. And again, there's levels of this. So like starts with project management, then there's area managers, then it comes to you. And so like, but your ability to come in and meet a homeowner where they're at, like talk through that a little bit. Like when you're engaging with a homeowner and their experience is so far from their expectation and there's this giant disappointment, how do you navigate that?
I'll tell you, it's the two biggest things are, and especially coming from production style building, you can never forget that this is the biggest investment that someone is ever going to make in their life. It's not just another house. It's not just another lot. This is family land that they were given by their grandfather, or this is land that they saved their entire life to buy. They're putting this land up to get this construction loan to build this house. So you have to understand that this is a stressful experience for anybody. You know, and my wife and I built our own house, and like, I'm surprised our marriage survived it, you know? So like, I think that understanding where they're coming from and how important this is and how stressful it is to them is the first thing. And two, it kind of correlates with that, putting yourself in their shoes. And I've actually learned a lot from you, about, is this an objection or a complaint? Because it's easy for me to swoop in and be the hero, right? The project manager deals with them every single day. And just like you said, you have logical and emotional. Well, the problem is that, yes, the response is logical, but when the project manager's dealing with the problem on a daily basis, it becomes emotional for him. I'm coming in third party. I'm looking at it from just like I kind of said in the beginning, like a perspective, like what is fair? Because the client has horse blinders on, the project manager has horse blinders on, and the sub has horse blinders on. And I have to look at it from an objective point of view, like, okay, I understand their complaint. If I was in their shoes, this would frustrate me too. I also understand the plumber's point of view. If I was in his shoes, this would frustrate me too. And I can see how the project manager's frustrated. So I'm able to try to de-escalate that situation and say, okay, I see what the problem is. What's the solution? But before asking what's the solution, I have to take the time to listen to what they have to say. And usually by the time they get finished venting, the solution is simple. They just want somebody to hear their point of view, because to me, it's a small problem. To them, it's a huge problem. You know, they're living in an RV, you know, they're crammed, you know, they have all this stuff going on in their life.
The holidays are coming.
The holidays are coming. And I think you just have to put all that into perspective. And I think too, I don't take myself too seriously. You can't take it personal. You cannot take it personal. It's not personal. They're upset. They're frustrated. To me, it may seem silly, but to them, it's real. And I think that as long as I keep that level of humility when I try to deal with the situation, then I'm always able to get a positive outcome. But if I take it personal and I lash back, you know, then it just creates this whole domino effect of, you know, we're fighting to be right. And if there's one thing I learned from my father growing up, my first girlfriend, my dad said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Well, dealing with clients is the same way.
Right. That's as clear as you can put it. But like, hey, okay. So you're hearing perspective here from the guy that is responsible for every single project getting built on time with as minimal errors as possible, you know, and he's got to juggle all these client journeys through his team, of course, but that's the perspective on it. So I would say this, if you're leaned in, you're listening and watching and you're like, hey, you know, how do I prepare myself for that? So from your point of view, what would you say to someone who's sitting here like about to pull the trigger? This has been a dream for them coming in, because we talk about expectations all the time. What would you give them as, hey, here's an expectation to bring to the table day one?
I would say trust the process. We are professionals. We build houses every day. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of faith that if it's wrong, we'll fix it. If it's missing, we'll discover it. And you just have to understand that nothing is guaranteed in construction. Permitting might take a little bit longer. There are a lot of unknowns that come down the pipeline, but ultimately our goal is to build the house as quickly as possible, to build it with the utmost amount of quality as possible. And I think that one thing that we do too is that we're really hands-on with the client. So we share 2 weeks of our schedule with them so they can see what's going on. We post pictures with daily logs with descriptions on this is what's going on, this is what's happening next week. All of our project managers are in constant contact through text, email, phone with the clients. We do multiple on-site meetings. There's no problem that if talked about and put on the table that can't be solved.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Barndo Show podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this content, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at the Barndo Co. Super simple to find us. And then when you're ready to dive in a little more, maybe look around some of our available floor plan options or take a look at the gallery of our work, or maybe you're ready to connect with our team and explore what it looks like to build your dream barndominium, you can visit us online at thebarndoco.com.